Alvaro is here, and she is Managing Director at Narrative PR. Good morning.
Good morning.
So we're talking about some of the best and worst PR stunts of 2012, some predictions for what we're going to be seeing coming down the road in 2013, the trends. But let's start with some of the best PR campaigns. The Red Bull Stratus, you thought was great.
Oh, it was huge. I mean, Red Bull is all about giving you wings. And they've been promoting that tagline through base jumpers and parachuters, doing extreme sports and extreme jumps. Nobody expected that they were going to send somebody over 120,000 feet into the stratosphere and then let them fall back down to Earth, breaking the sound barrier, breaking 4 world records, and truly giving Red Bull wings. It was seen by over 7.1 million people around the world.
This is where I get curious, though. Does it give the product a big boost? I know it gives the brand a big boost because people are talking about it, but are you seeing more sales of Red Bull?
For sure. I mean, Forbes magazine said that this was worth tens of millions of impressions for Red Bull. Their branding was all over this. They promoted it for months and months leading up to it. So certainly people were making the association between this incredible stunt and Red Bull, the brand itself.
All right, so Tropicana launched a huge sun installation in London. Tell us about that.
So they had their Brighter Mornings campaign, and they thought, well, if you go to London and you have all of these gray mornings, what if we installed a massive sun over Trafalgar Square?
Really?
This sun was worth 60,000 light bulbs, so it lit up the morning, and they gave out 35,000 packages of Tropicana orange juice. It was kind of a brilliant association between we're going to give you these brighter mornings, literally and figuratively, and make this lovely association to the brand.
That's so creative.
Look at the reaction on everybody's face. So
it was very joyful. People were wearing sunglasses. They were lounging in beach chairs.
I like that.
It was great.
And so Coke was making morning commuters feel like James Bond. How'd they do that? What's that all about?
Well, more and more brands are looking to find ways to get people really engaged with their brand. So they were in Belgium. They were at a train station. And when people went up to the Coke Zero vending machine, they got a challenge. They had 70 seconds to complete, which looked like a James Bond 007 task or challenge. And it was to give them exclusive tickets to the Skyfall premiere. So they were literally running through the platforms. There were all kinds of obstacles in place. You see the janitors mopping, women with dogs in their way on the escalator, and people participated. They participated in droves. They had all of this amazing content, and they were able to use it to drive over 9 million views on YouTube.
Wow. And talking about some of the worst situations, and I mean, these aren't companies necessarily, but we're talking about Lance Armstrong and the big issue, obviously, going through the doping scandal and how to respond to the crisis. From a PR standpoint, you say this is a blunder.
Well, I think we can all agree that it was likely the worst story of 2012, the most difficult story of 2012. But what's interesting about it wasn't just about Lance Armstrong, it was certainly about Livestrong, the brand that represented. It was about the associations that he had to all of the sponsors that had sponsored him. But what was really interesting, that studies looked at the phenomenon of whether or not somebody comes out and they're honest about the mistakes that they made or whether or not they deny them. They actually found that it's pretty flatline, whether you deny it or whether you... Exactly, and for years we've talked about the fact that you just come out and you apologize, you get it over with, and you move on. The truth is, he had so many fans that people almost wanted to believe in the lie.
Right, and you look at the brand of Livestrong and the foundation. What impact do you think all this is having on a company like this, and how does a company or a foundation like this respond to get back to what it says it and claims to be?
Yeah, I mean, the tricky thing about Livestrong is that they're so associated with Lance Armstrong that having to pull away like a sponsor is so much more difficult for them. So trying to find the balance of creating their own brand outside of Lance and still maintaining all of what he brought to them in the first place, all of the celebrity and the spotlight that was shining on them, I think it's going to be really tricky for them over the next couple of years.
What about Mitt Romney? That whole thing, and it was a verbal blunder at first, and then it just kind of got away from them.
The moment I heard it.
Full of women.
Binder full of women. It was the second presidential debate, as you'll remember. He was responding to needing more women in the workforce, even in his governor's office. He talked about asking for binders full of women, bring in as many women as possible. And the next day, it went completely viral. It was all over Twitter. It was like a parody Twitter account. There were 30,000 followers. People were submitting photos to be part of the binder. Facebook had over 200,000 likes. This truly did get away from him, and it dogged him throughout the campaign.
Yeah, it really did.
And the Sesame Street thing. during the campaign.
Yes, and that
Yeah.
too.
It also affected
Going
it.
after Big Bird. It's like,
Yeah.
you crazy
That's
people love
right.
Big Bird. Don't do that.
In this situation, we always talk about how you would love to be in the boardroom when ideas like these are approved. What are you thinking? American
know.
Apparel, they had an online sale during Hurricane Sandy saying that if you're bored, go online and shop.
This was one of the worst kind of company mistakes last year. For a company to take advantage of this awful situation where people were at home, they couldn't get out of their homes because of Hurricane Sandy. They were dying, and they
Homes were
said,
decimated.
if you're bored, we've got a sale on, we encourage you to be a part of it. They weren't the only brand to do that, but they were the only brand who didn't apologize afterwards.
Really?
Yeah, so they took a lot of heat for not only the sale itself, but for the fact that they had nothing to say to consumers after they really got angry and were demanding an apology.
Do you think that's part of their brand, though, right? American Apparel is sort of synonymous with hipster culture, very apathetic, we don't care.
Yeah, and really pushing the envelope
For
with
sure.
their ads and the pictures.
They are. We're used to seeing them being really provocative. You know, they're super edgy. They kind of have a bit of a it's our way or the highway approach. So I think that it does fall in line with their brand, but this case it might have just gone a step too far.
And so what are some of the trends that we're going to be seeing as we head into 2013, do you think, as far as the way people are trying to market their products to us?
Well, people are, because we have so much access to celebrity now, whether it's through Twitter or through any kind of branded content, brands in particular are looking for a way to break through. That's why you're seeing these huge stunts like sending somebody into the atmosphere. I think we're going to see more of that, huge activations, lots of ways for people to truly connect to the brand. I think we're going to see more and more celebrity announcements happening over Twitter. Jessica Simpson announces her baby. We hear about Kim Kardashian and her baby over Twitter. So I think we're going to see that as a forum. But we may also see a backlash from that. We may see celebrities and brands saying, you know what, it's too much information. We don't have enough control of it. We need firms to come back in and start controlling the message for us.
Right, and make it feel personal to the receiver as well.
Exactly.
Super, thanks, Amanda. Amanda Alvaro, she is the managing director at Narrative PR. Good talking to you.
Thank you for having me.